Assassin's Creed Shadows will have you playing as Yasuke, a real-life historical figure with some, let's say, creative liberties. But this game is hardly the first medium to do that. Yasuke has been a figure in Japanese media for decades and started getting really popular with a children's book from 1968. Since then, he's appeared in novels, manga, and has already been in other video games like Nioh and Samurai Warriors 5. Sachi Schmidt-Hori, a professor of Japanese literature and culture who's working with Ubisoft on the game, said this.
Yeah, I think people in Japan really embracing him as a character, and we really like to see him representing the samurai spirit.
He's been portrayed as a sympathetic attendant, a hero, a villain. He's basically become more of a folklore character, like how the US has Johnny Appleseed and John Henry, characters who were inspired by real people but kind of took on a life of their own. We also only have bits and pieces about a lot of people from this era of Japan. So when it comes to Assassin's Creed giving their take on filling the gaps, they're just doing what other storytellers have been doing for decades.
Yo, this is gonna be a weird type of conversation, but you guys know how I am. I don't care. I'm just gonna tell you guys the reason why this is actually a bigger deal than what you may think it is. Everybody been wanting an Assassin's Creed game to be in Japan. We just knew that was like a perfect setting, and this was before Ghost of Tsushima actually came out anyway. So before Ghost of Tsushima came out, we wanted Assassin's Creed to go that route before any other game did, because that IP just fit that narrative perfectly. And we thought we was going to be a ninja or something like that, right? So this suffers from the same thing that Skull and Bones did. The expectation and what we got. That's the difference. That's the reason why people are pissed off. It's the same thing with Skull and Bones. The reason why people were pissed off about Skull and Bones was the fact that they already had a pirate game before called Black Flag, and then all of a sudden when Skull and Bones came out and it's a quadruple A game, that's what they was pushing it as. So we're like, oh, this is gonna be like Black Flag but better. Nope. You strip away the all land activities. You strip away the land combat. You strip away the fact that you can board boats in a cinematic way that you can do in Black Flag, and all these other things. And this is just Ubisoft in general. So people, when they see another Ubisoft game come out that has to do with feudal Japan, where we wanted it to be before Ghost of Tsushima actually came out, and we get this, I don't see how y'all don't understand why people aren't disappointed or saw this coming from a mile away and they're just voicing their opinion on, oh yeah, I already knew this was going to go down this route. It's going to be woke. It's going to be not dealing with what we saw before. And it's going to be the same Ubisoft shit when it comes to game mechanics. Everybody has a right to feel the way that they're feeling right now. But let me tell you guys exactly why on the race part, because I'm seeing a lot of discourse going back and forth about, of course, when somebody has a problem with, front and center, like, what's his name? But Yasuke? Yasuke. Okay, so Yasuke is going to be the main character for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Well, there's actually two characters, but Yasuke, of course, is getting the most, quote unquote, attention. The reason why he's getting that much attention is because, you got two sides of people who actually say this, who actually talk like this all the time. Who's basically like, oh, here we go again. They're race swapping. And then you got the people on X, the defenders, who are going, well, yeah, of course, that's just because you're racist and you don't want to see no black character being in the main role. This narrative is wrong on so many levels. Let me tell you why it's wrong. Let's read this article first, because IGN, of course, has to chime in on this type of stuff. They're known for doing this stuff, right? But it's not like they're credible when it comes to these type of topics because of what they said about Resident Evil. So you already know for a fact they're 100% on board with this, though. But what should they have to say right here? This headline says, let's not pretend we're mad the new Assassin's Creed Shadow Samurai isn't Asian. Like, it does nothing for Asian representation to have another samurai hero. Ubisoft has finally announced its long-awaited Assassin's Creed game in feudal Japan, subtitled Shadows. Like, it follows dual protagonists, and nobody's going to pay attention to that female protagonist because it's all about her. No, it's like it's all about Yasuke. Oh yeah, and pay attention to the two main characters anyway, right? This is going to show you exactly what they're doing. Notice how they're not going to have a Japanese man, right, being in the front and center on this game. No, they have to be diverse. They have to be representative, right? So they got a black male, historically accurate or not, it doesn't matter. If it checks that box, they got a black male who's representing himself as a samurai, and the second character is an Asian woman. Both of these check the boxes. Number one, she's a woman, and number two, Yasuke is a black male. So you check both of those boxes right there. Before we go further, let me show you this to correlate exactly what I'm talking about here. Sweet Baby, of course you guys know about Sweet Baby. I made so many videos on this thing. It's not even hidden anymore that their company has an agenda to make games purposely representative. Let's put it like this. Like, guarantee you that both of those main characters have nothing to do with these people's involvement whatsoever. I guarantee you that it has nothing to do with it, right? I guarantee you it has nothing to do with these people being involved at all. The reason why those two main characters are those two main characters. It couldn't be. Yeah, it couldn't be because these people are involved, right? It couldn't be. It's impossible. I don't know why people are getting frustrated at the fact that it's a black main character and it's a woman character being the lead roles for Assassin's Creed's first outing in feudal Japan. It blows my mind. This cannot possibly be the reason. Ubisoft Quebec. What's the other company that's in Quebec? Huh. That's strange, isn't it? That's strange. So yeah, let me finish this right quick so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here. The reason why people have an issue with this. While it's a known issue that Asian representation in Western games is severely lacking. Okay. Yeah, in Western games, because the Asian market has their own fucking industry. You don't have to represent them in a video game when they got their own industry that's destroying the Western industry anyway. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't care about their representation because they're being represented pretty well in their own country. Then they say, yes, I find it hypocritical and laughable that we're only talking about the need for an Asian protagonist now that it's been revealed Assassin's Creed Shadows will star a black samurai. I'm going to tell you exactly why people are pissed off about this. It's not laughable or hypocritical. It's expected. I showed you what I just showed you, right? On what's connected and what's not. Ubisoft already has a bad taste in people's mouths anyway, when it comes to them not innovating, when it comes to them pandering, when it comes to their company being corporate to the T. You know, and the fact that Sweet Baby is actually attached to it. Why would people not look at this game and this character that all of a sudden it's your first outing on feudal Japan? We've been wanting this shit for years. You chose to go the route, historically accurate or not, when it comes to this main character. I'm not even going to get into that because I'm pretty sure there's plenty of historians that knows this character to a T. I don't. I just can see it I don't have to know. I just know the fact that you chose him, or this company chose him specifically because of checking that box. I don't care if he's historically accurate or not. I don't care if he was a samurai or he wasn't a samurai or he was a squire. That doesn't matter to me. We know for a fact that how people are going to look at this is the fact that you chose to pick him and her specifically because of representation purposes. They're not even looking at the fact that, oh, this could be a good character. Oh, this can be such and such. You ruin that. You put a bad taste in people's mouths. Now they're not going to look at anything y'all do in good faith. Y'all ruin that shit. And plus, when you got people like this, who's the lead writer of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and she got this in her name, and she's from Quebec, with the other company that's from Quebec too, whose sole purpose is for representation purposes. Why people's only perspective is to take it that you are making this game in bad faith. It's not going to be because you want to make something historically accurate all of a sudden. It's not because of that. You want to have Yasuke, and a lot of people feel that you are hyping his role up more than what it was in actual history, which has been done before, but we know why you're doing it. You're hyping his role up specifically because you want more black roles. It has nothing to do with, oh, these people are mad because it's a black main character. Like, we're just pissed just because of that. I'm going to tell you why that's wrong. Number one, where I grew up during a time where Afro Samurai was a big deal. Afro Samurai was one of the best Adult Swim shows to where everybody loved it. Asian, black, white, it didn't matter. We loved that shit. So are you telling me people are less racist back then than they are now? No, I think that the climate has changed. The climate changed specifically because we know what the agenda is now. Nobody knew what the agenda was back then. Matter of fact, I don't even think there was an agenda when they created Afro Samurai. I believe it was just a cool story because it was fake and it was just, it was a fun show. Afro Samurai, then you got Django, where it sold out in theaters across the United States. I couldn't even get a ticket 2 weeks in a row to go see Django. And you're telling me people are having an issue with a black character because it's black? You guys know this isn't true, but this is y'all tactic when it comes to trying to criticize these type of projects, because we clearly see what's going on. It has nothing to do with us not wanting a black character. It has nothing to do with that. It's what's behind it. But you guys are disingenuous and you guys are like bots. Y'all have one response to everything that happens when it comes to us basically saying that your side is doing something stupid. You just automatically have to call it racist. And calling it, oh yeah, well this is just what you want anyway. You guys get all pissed when it comes to Black Rose. That's not true. Like I said before, Afro Samurai was one of the most successful animes back in its time. I've seen every single thing from that shit. I loved Afro Samurai. I even bought the game, even though it sucked. Django. I went to go see Django twice, even though I had to wait 2 weeks to even go see it because all the tickets were gone. Black and white people were seeing that movie. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with your intentions with the story and whether you're making the story strictly for entertainment and not because you're trying to check a box. That is the only reason why people are not accepting of this. If this game came out before Ghost of Tsushima, during the time to where none of this political shit was involved, I guarantee you people will accept this game with open arms. But they know what's behind it now. The veil has been lifted. Sorry, Ubisoft can't create a game like this no more. It's done. Especially when it's a Western game. If this game was made in Japan, let's say if this game was made by Square Enix, Japan, right? Nobody would be saying shit. We'll absolutely be saying nothing. If people keep on doing this comparison to like, oh, well, what about Neo? Neo had a white main character. Guess what? Neo was made in Japan. So nobody cares. They can do whatever the fuck they want to with their history. But as soon as the Western culture start doing shit like this, we know there's something behind it. Why do you think Ghost of Tsushima was so well received by both U.S. audiences and Japan? Matter of fact, it was so well received in Japan that they actually had a tribute to it. There are certain things you can do and there's certain things you can't do. Ubisoft is doing this in the realms of being representative, but they don't realize, well, yeah, they do realize, they just don't give a fuck, that they're being offensive to other cultures. Japanese people do not like this whatsoever. The first thing I try to do is I try to figure out how the other side is feeling and how the culture that this game is trying to represent, how do they feel? Fuck how I'm feeling. It's not my culture. How are they feeling about this? So I check that out. They're not happy. So yeah, this is the reason why when you hear this whole type of thing, look, let me just get this out the way. Do I have a problem with Yasuke being a main character in a game to begin with? No, I do not. I actually think that he's grounds for a lot of interesting stories if it's done by the right company and it's done the right way. I don't have an issue with him being the main character. Matter of fact, if he is a historical figure that actually existed back then, I don't care what it is. He could be a squire, he could be a samurai, he could be just a sword bearer, whatever the fuck, right? I think it's grounds for a storyteller to explore his character anyway. I think it's interesting. But I think that you need to have multiple sources when it comes to Japanese culture. When it comes to real Japanese authentic people, I believe that Japanese people need to work on this game along with the American culture too. Y'all need to come together. And not no consultant over in Japan who basically is an American but passes. Come on now. This game needs to be made by Japanese people because he's a part of Japanese culture. I want to see how they would do that. And if they did that, there are plenty of stories or creative liberties that you can take with a character like him that existed in feudal Japan. There's plenty of them. So yeah, nobody really cares at the fact that he's black. It's because Ubisoft created it and we know why they put him in this game along with her. That's the only reason why. Stop acting disingenuous. You guys know the reason why. Not everybody's racist because they have an issue with a black character that is clearly shoehorned in that position because of the climate that's actually going on today. Stop. Please stop that shit. That's all I gotta say about this. But yeah, we know what's going on. I'm not buying this game because clearly Sweet Baby is involved. So yeah, I told you anyway, I'm not buying anything from this company. If they touched any game when it comes to industry, I'm not touching it whatsoever. Period. So yeah, I wasn't gonna get this game regardless. I am slightly disappointed because I've been wanting an Assassin's Creed game to touch on feudal Japan anyway, but not like this. This is not the way that I wanted them to go. They should have been the first game, like a Ghost of Tsushima game. They should have been the first ones to do it, but they waited too long. And now your time has passed, and now there's a bad taste in people's mouths when it comes to you trying to do something like this. And this is your first outing. It's expected. Sorry.